Welcome back to another episode of Muddy River Catfishing. Today I'm going to invite you guys into my kitchen and I'm going to teach you one of my recipes for beer battered catfish. It's a recipe very easy to do. There's really no measuring involved. It's kind of just play it by ear. Not too much to it, so I'm going to show you right now the ingredients that we're going to use. The main ingredient is Bisquick. This is what we use to make the batter. Of course, beer, and any beer will work. I've been making this for years, so I've tried all kinds of different beers, but just anything that you drink that you have around the house is pretty much going to do the same job. And as far as the beer is concerned, you don't have to let it go flat or have it warm or cold or anything. You could actually be just having a drink and then use it right there. It's the same thing. You don't have to do any kind of special work to this. Just vegetable oil so we can deep fry it. And then the spices that I use, the two main spices that I use are garlic powder and lemon pepper. Those are the two main spices. Today I'm going to use a little bit of garlic salt. I don't have a whole lot of garlic powder, but it's not going to make too much of a difference. I'll just finish it off with garlic salt. And then my personals that I add this roasted garlic and herb from McCormick. And this Montreal chicken. Now one spice that I don't use normally when I cook is salt. And the reason I don't use salt is because every single one of these guys has salt as the main ingredient, or as one of the main ingredients anyways. So you'll get enough salt out of these products here without actually having to add your own salt to it. So those are the main ingredients that we're going to use. And of course the catfish. I'll show you how I chop that here in a minute. And as far as the utensils, let me show you what we're going to be using. Alright, as far as the utensils that we're going to be using, pretty simple, just a cutting board and a good sharp knife to make the catfish nuggets. Then we need a mixing bowl and a mixer. That's where we're going to make the beer batter. And a deep fryer, and this is a Presto deep fryer. I always make sure you have one that has a control on it for the temperature. The temperature setting that we use is 365 degrees. So that's all we need, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on making us some catfish. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just add some oil to the deep fryer. Just so it can start warming up while we prepare the rest of it. And I bought 2 bottles of this. It doesn't use all the 2 bottles, but definitely more than one. And that's if you can see where I have the oil, it's not all the way to the top. It's maybe about 2/3 full. I don't want it all the way to the top, but just enough so that the the fish will get in there and they'll be able to cook fully. So then we'll set this to 365 degrees. More or less, and then we'll let that warm up. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started with beer batter. All you do is take your biscuit, open it up, and add it to your bowl. I've got a lot of fish to cook, so I'm gonna just put it all in there. Alright, next thing, you just add your spices. There's not too much garlic powder left in here, so I'm just gonna dump it all in. Then I'll finish that off with garlic salt. And of course, lemon pepper. The Montreal chicken. And the roasted garlic and herb. There's not really that much in this one either, so I'll just dump it in. Take a fork, just kind of mix it in there. The way I always tell when I have enough spice in my biscuit is when the biscuit has that peppered look to it. If it looks super white, it probably needs a little bit more seasoning. This one, because I put the whole box in there, it looks like it needs a little more seasoning. So let's do a little more garlic salt. A little more lemon pepper. Montreal chicken. That should be good. That looks a lot better, if you can see that. Alright, so now we're going to add the beer to it. This recipe does actually use quite a bit of beer. And mix it up. The consistency that we're looking for is something close to a pancake batter. So obviously you can see that's still real thick. So we'll go ahead and add more beer. Still kind of thick, so we add some more beer. Starting to look a little better. See how it runs off? That's the consistency we're looking for. And we just Alright, so that is the consistency that we're looking for. If you can see that right there, you see it drips right off the mixer, and it has that nice peppered look to it. You can see the spices in there. So your beer batter is ready for some fish. Alright, so far the key points to remember are the vegetable oil needs to be at 365 degrees. The spices in the Bisquick need to have a peppered look, and the consistency of the mix needs to run off the mixer almost like a pancake batter. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut up some fillets of catfish that I brought from the river. What I like to do is cut it down the middle. Some of these fillets are kind of thick, so you don't want pieces that are too big, because then they won't cook thoroughly. But a piece about this size is perfect. So keeping that in mind, just go through and cut your pieces. And then add them to your batter. Once you have them in the batter, just make sure they're covered completely. And before you stick them in the oil, it's always good to lift the basket and drop it in a couple of times so that the oil mixes up. If the little light indicator turns back on, it means that the oil isn't completely to 365 and it needs a little bit more time. So we're going to let that warm up, and as soon as that's ready, we'll put our fish in. Alright, the oil is at 365. It's nice and hot. We got our fish ready. They've been put in the mix here, and we're going to go ahead and put them in. See how the batter runs off? That's perfect. So we come over and just gently place them in. When you put your fish into the fryer, you don't want to put too many in there, because then they'll stick together. So just enough to, I'm looking at probably maybe 5 or 6 pieces at a time. And this is only because I have a small fryer. If you have a bigger one, of course, you could put more in it. So once you got a few in there, just let them cook. And the coloring that you're going to look for is a nice golden brown. I'll probably get one more in there. Yeah, don't stir them or anything until you see them starting to get a nice brownish color. Otherwise you'll knock the batter off of them. Alright, they're starting to get a little color, so let's go around the edge, make sure they're not sticking. Break them up from each other. And try to flip them over if you can. And if you have any doubts about how long they should cook for, it's better to cook them a little bit longer than to take them out sooner so they're not mushy on the inside. But you want that golden color that they're starting to get on this one here, on both sides. Yeah, it's a bit of a slow process with this small fryer, but I don't mind it one bit. It's well worth the wait. I'm filming this in real time, so that way if you guys want to time it so you can see how long I cooked it for and use it as a reference. That way, just so you know, I didn't edit this little piece here where I'm cooking the fish. Starting to look about done. Give them just a minute or two more. And that's it. There's your fish. Just hang them out and let them dry a little bit, let them drain, and then we'll put them in the pan. Alright guys, so that's how you make my beer battered catfish. Give it a try. Hopefully you'll like it. Serve it up with some lime, some potato salad, and a nice cold beer, and you got yourself a great meal. And share it with your family. If you like it, leave me a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.